Today, I'm gonna be cooking my 24-hour adobo. That's right, it takes a whole day to cook this adobo. There's some garlic, there's carrots, and of course pork belly, and then some other ingredients that are kind of unique to this recipe. I'm gonna show you how to do the whole thing right now. And you might be watching this after you watch my actual recipe video. But if you haven't watched that, I also will put the link to the shorter version of this. But yeah, I'm gonna be making a 24-hour adobo today. And it's one of the best that my girls and Judy love to eat. In fact, this was a request of Judy. So let me show you the ingredients first. Ingredients are pretty basic, except there's a couple unique things about it. I've got the pork belly. This is 6 pounds. I'm only gonna probably use about 4 pounds of it, and then the rest I'm gonna make another dish. And then we've got the Datu Puti vinegar. We got the Aloha soy sauce. And then, yeah, some coconut milk. This is something that makes it really unique and is perfect for this 24-hour long cooking style. We got some onions and some garlic, lots and lots of garlic. And very unique to my recipe is carrots. The thing is, when you cook these carrots for 24 hours along with the pork belly, it soaks up a lot of the flavors. So you bite into it and guess what? It's as if you're eating adobo, but it's vegetables. Obviously there's like pork, juice or whatever in there. But all of this is possible because of sous vide, which if you're not familiar, it's where they circulate water with a sous vide device like this. Is from Breville, and it keeps at a constant temperature. I'm gonna set it to 155, but it's going to cook inside of this water for 24 hours. Now it's not literally swimming in the water, the adobo itself. You put it into these Ziploc bags. So you cook everything up, not all the way, but most of the way. Put it into these Ziploc bags, and then you're going to drop it in here, set the timer, and it's gonna cook for literally a whole day at 155 degrees, and this is what happens. The pork is tender, those carrots are softened up, and it's just freaking delicious. So I'm gonna go ahead and start cooking, but first, we gotta prep the ingredients. I'm gonna start off with the onions, basic, peel them. You don't have to dice them up very small, so I'm gonna keep it fairly small. The reason I like the onions is because I like the flavor and I like the moisture. So I like sabao, and rather than just adding water into my adobo or using extra soy sauce, extra vinegar, I like that the moisture comes out of the onions and then it adds to the sabao, making it way more flavorful, and you get the natural juices from the onion, which are a little bit sweet, so it's another way to add sweetness.
We don't really have kids that touch.
There you go. Doesn't need to be pretty, doesn't need to be small, just like this, perfect. The onions basically will disappear. Carrots, very unique. I just love the way that you can add it in there and it gets transformed in terms of its flavor. I mean, it really doesn't taste like carrots because it's soaking up everything. All right, I'm just gonna peel this and then cut up into pretty big bite-sized pieces because I want it to be substantial and be able to hold up to that 24 hours of cooking. So chop off the ends. This is what I'm going for right here. I cut this one in half. This is a pretty good piece. This is gonna shrink up quite a bit, but you don't want it too small or else it'll melt, and then if it gets mushy and mixes in, it'll mess it up. So I'm gonna do that for all of this. There you go, just like that. Carrots are done. Pork belly, pretty basic because it's already sliced at Costco, which is nice. I'm just gonna take this and I'm gonna cook it up in big chunks, not small ones, because I don't want it too small and I need to hold up just like the carrots to the long cooking time, as well as the searing that I'm going to do. So I'm gonna just cut up into chunks like so, which seems really big. But what you can do is after you're done searing, cooking it for 24 hours, you can always chop this up for the kids or who doesn't like a big piece of meat. Boom, pork belly done. All right, for the garlic, you don't really have to do very much, but I do prefer to crush my garlic. Rather than slice this, I just smash it oh so lightly like that. just like this. I mean, easy. I'm gonna do this with every clove, and it's just gonna help to release some of those oils. And it takes a little bit, but really easy. By the way, I'm using my garlic only cutting board from our friends Tomi. Boom. Ingredients are prepped. Garlic, carrots, onions. Now for the sauce. So for the sauce, I usually use Datu Puti, which is a Filipino vinegar. And usually I use the Datu Puti soy sauce or Silver Swan, but I'm gonna use Aloha. My recipe calls for 300 milliliters of vinegar. So I'll put that in first. I just love Filipino vinegar. I think it's the best vinegar on the planet. Shout out to the Tagaytay area. They actually sell vinegar, which is called suka, is it? Right on the side of the street, which I know sounds kind of funny, but it's very good. And then I'm going to do equal parts Aloha soy sauce. So that equates to, what is that, 1 cup? I've even used Kikkoman before for my soy sauce, but of course Filipino stuff is gonna be better. And the Aloha, I think, is a little more similar. It's kind of in between a Japanese soy sauce and a Filipino soy sauce. At the end of the day, all these put together is where the magic's at. So vinegar, soy sauce, measured out, ready to go. Dirty kitchen set up outside, and it's not dirty because it's really dirty. It's a dirty kitchen because we're outside. It's a very Filipino thing to cook outside because of stinky fish. In this case, just cooking the pork because we're about to fry up a lot of pork. This pork belly is going to sear on all sides and then get put into this bowl. Then afterwards, I'll cook all the other ingredients before I throw it all into the sous vide. I am gonna use an avocado oil just to get it going. You won't need that much because so much fat is gonna get rendered from this pork belly. Put the pork belly in. I can already tell it needs to be a little bit hotter. I'm not trying to fully cook these big chunks of meat. I am just trying to get a nice little sear on the outside, barely brown it. Do that to all sides, or as many sides as possible. You really don't have to do all the sides. This is quite the tedious process because, yeah, it does take a little bit of time, but it's 100% worth it. Not only is this adobo gonna take, I don't know, 1000x the amount of time. Normally adobo takes you what 30-40 minutes, but there's a lot of steps involved, I must say, and I'll admit this ain't for everybody. You know, that's one thing. If Mama had a choice of cooking this, she would never do this, just because it's like taking something so traditional and so part of your heritage and, yeah, cuisine history, and then flipping it upside down and spinning it and then throwing it up in the air and like blowing it up with fireworks. It just doesn't equate, but I'm really proud of this dish because she did say it was one of the best adobos she's ever had. So it's totally worth it, but plan to commit some time because this is a process. I mean, I took a nap just right now and cleaned the kitchen, but I'd say if I were to do it from beginning to end, including prep, other than the 24 hours where it just sits on its own, this will take you a good 3 hours of your time. That includes cleanup too, so 100% worth it. I will be putting a little bit of salt. Remember that soy sauce is very salty, so don't put too much in there. And I will be cracking some black pepper. I'm gonna be using a lot of black pepper in this dish to cut through everything. Black pepper and garlic. So notice I have not added the garlic. Normally you would probably add the garlic. Because this has multiple steps to it, and I personally don't want the garlic to burn, I will wait till a little bit later to add it. As I mentioned before, all I'm trying to do here is sear the pork belly. The good thing is this, because it's gonna be cooking for 24 hours, that garlic flavor is gonna have plenty of time to kind of do its magic. If you're using stainless steel like me, don't rush the pork. It'll get unstuck when it gets unstuck. There we go. Woo! I'm gonna let this sear on all 4 sides, or I guess 6 sides technically. And I'm not trying to cook this all the way through. It will still be raw on the inside. Do that with the second batch. And then I will show you what's next when it comes to the garlic onions, carrots. Okay, everything's basically done. I have seared the pork belly on each side, not quite fully cooked. I'm gonna turn on the heat. Now, the bottom has so much flavor in it. This is one of the things I love about pork belly. Lots of fat, so I don't even need to add any more fat for the next part of this. But this pork belly will just sit to the side. See how that, oh my gosh, those brown bits. Now you gotta pay attention to that because you don't want that to turn black, obviously. That is just so delicious. If you were to do this the traditional way, you would cook this for probably another 45 to 50 minutes with the sauce. But I'm gonna sous vide it, so. All right, first thing that's gonna happen is I'm gonna turn the heat back up. I don't need it to be super hot. Like I said, lots of fat in there. I'm gonna take the garlic and I will be browning it, but not to the point where it is brown. Yes, I'm using a lot of garlic here. I mean, it is adobo after all. And I don't need to cook this very long because that sous vide process is really gonna do what you would normally do inside of the pot. I'm just gonna get it slightly softened at first. Then I'm gonna go ahead and add the onions. I'm putting all the onions in there. And this is gonna help the garlic from getting burned. I am turning up that heat to just to the point where it's high. What's cool about this, this is called the Breville Control Freak by Polyscience. You can actually get it to the exact temperature. And one of the nice things about adding the onions in here, it's gonna help deglaze the bottom of the pan. You can already see the, I think they call it fondant or the fond, so not fondant. The brown parts from the pork searing on the stainless steel come up because of the oils or acids from the onions. I mean, look how beautiful that is. I think the garlic is also helping, but look at that. I already cleaned the bottom of the pan for me, which is exactly what I want. One thing I want to point out that I did not do in my original recipe is, see that? The garlic is still whole. It's going to be less likely that you burn your garlic if you keep it whole like that. So just noting that it is cooking. Now I'm gonna take my carrots, and this seems like a lot of carrots, but more and more I just love the carrots being in there. You know where I learned it from? I think I learned it from Bretman Rock. There you go. I believe he adds carrots, or his family did. Don't quote me on that, but yeah. That's probably enough carrots. That's a little bit more than I normally would add, but why not? Like I said, it's actually really delicious this way. One thing I forgot to do with some of the pork was add salt. So I'll add some more salt. Now, like I said, a little goes a long way, and you're gonna put a lot of saltiness in there. Some pepper. Woo-hoo-hoo. One of the things that you'll notice is I'm separating different things I'm cooking. In fact, at one point I'm gonna add the soy sauce and vinegar, and then I'm going to remove the carrots because you don't want it to overcook. So you're really kind of breaking down this cooking process, being a little more strategic with it versus your traditional way of doing adobo is just all in one pot. You're not separating, and obviously way more effort. That's kind of how you get that unique flavor that you're gonna experience when you cook this. Later, because I've got leftover pork, I'm going to make a traditional adobo, funny enough. In some ways, that's what you want, but Judy wants a specific 24-hour adobo, so I'm gonna cook it for her. And when you're working with pork belly, it is nice to have all that time to help break it down. Going to add 4 bay leaves. I like to get it activated, so put it in there when there's still some heat and it made contact with the bottom of the pan. I'm gonna turn down the heat just a little bit because it is starting to brown at the bottom there. Carrots are already soft. Probably, I would say even maybe too soft. Be gentle with those bay leaves. I'm gonna do the soy sauce first, and then the vinegar. There you go. And you guys know the rule. Do not stir this. I think it's still a debate. Should you stir it or not? In honor and in memory of Mama, we don't stir after we put in the vinegar. I'm gonna turn this to like a saute, so it just bubbles for a little bit. And then I will add the coconut milk. It's been about 10 minutes, I think actually 15 minutes, and it's doing its thing. The carrots are not actually that soft, which is okay because they will definitely finish cooking in the sous vide. So I am gonna probably add most of this. There you go, that was all of it. Just gently stir this. Oh my gosh, this smells amazing. Now normally I let this reduce down a little bit. I'm gonna let this cook for another 10 minutes or so, but we're really close to this being done, and then adding it to the Ziploc bags and getting ready for its sous vide bath. Oh yeah, smells amazing. I'm having it just on a simmer right now, and now I can feel the carrots really softening up, but still holding it together. A couple things I'm gonna do here. Now I did put quite a bit of black pepper, but I'm gonna put a whole bunch of black peppercorns right on in there, just at the last moment. That's gonna continue flavoring all this adobo. I'll probably crack a little bit more in there too. Because I like just a teensy bit of kick, I'm gonna put crushed red pepper in there. In the Philippines, I think they put like a whole pepper in there. Now you gotta be careful with this. A little will go a long way over the course of 24 hours. So that's literally all I'm putting in there. And just stir it. Be very, very careful with those crushed red peppers. I've actually made this to the point where it was too spicy. There you go. And that is just about done. So I'm turning off the heat. I'm done cooking, at least on a stovetop. I've just got this bed of ice to cool this down. I need to go real quick, and you don't want blazing hot sauce or sabao going into your Ziploc bag. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cover it so no bugs get into it, and I'll start bagging up the adobo. Okay, at this point, it's pretty simple. All I'm gonna do is start putting even amounts of pork belly in each one of these. The nice thing is the pork belly is nice and cool. Same thing, you don't want blazing hot pork belly chunks going into a Ziploc bag like this. I mean, just look at this. Look at this. Oh my gosh. That browning, that sear, that flavor, it's all gonna be inside of your adobo. This is probably one of the things that sets this adobo apart from the traditional, is you get some of that flavor from the initial sear that you normally would not get from most other adobos. I got 2 Ziploc bags here. Probably better to split it up than to pack it. And then you're gonna see too, another reason why I'm gonna put it into 2 different bags, but I'm gonna go ahead and do this. And then hopefully the sabao is cooled down. There you go. Pork belly is bagged up. This is nice and cool. One thing I'm going to do is make sure that I grab equal numbers of bay leaves. There's 1 bay leaf right there. What I like to do is just 1 scoop for each bag, and I just alternate just like this to make sure I get enough carrots, enough garlic in each one. And I'm just going to keep doing this for both of them. Try not to get any juices on the outside of the bag, because if you do, it could potentially make the water bath smell like adobo, which is not a big deal, but you'll be smelling adobo literally all night long, which I think for some people will be okay, but you know, there's a difference between smelling it right before you're about to eat it versus smelling it literally all night when you're going to eat it 24 hours later. So I try not to spill. Sous vide bath is ready to go. In fact, Breville app, I'm not sponsored by them, by the way. Sous vide, start to cook. You're going to do 155. Next, it's crazy, 24 hours. 24 hours. Yes, this is really 24 hours cook time. Next, start preheat. Bam! So that's gonna start going here any moment. Here, let me show you. There you go. Just started. It's now preheating. Look at this. This is gonna go in here and cook for 24 hours. Adobo's ready to go. I got all the air out so that just the food is gonna get cooked. Okay, take the lid off. And now you're gonna see why you need 2 different bags. Now, to be fair, this is a lot of volume, okay? More than I normally put in there. I'm just going to set it in. Oh my gosh, it's already going up, which is gonna be okay. And I just set it in there like so. Make sure no water gets in, obviously. Going to put the cover on, or the lid, and that's gonna kind of keep it in place. And there you go. This is the 24-hour adobo that's going to be done cooking tomorrow. And I just let it go. Set it and forget it. Now, because I'm using a sous vide that connects to an app, I can kind of pay attention to it, but almost all sous vide tools, super easy to use, and I've done this many times, even with other brands of sous vide. So there you go. I'm gonna be back tomorrow, and then we will show you what I do to finish it up, and then plate it, and then eat it. 24 hours later. Hey, you guys want my adobo later?
No, thank you.
You want adobo?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
No, I want katsu.
Bella loves my adobo. She likes any kind of, meat heavy dish. Anyways, it's been a whole day. This has been at 155 the whole time. About to remove it from the Ziploc and show you how I kind of finish it off. So I can go ahead and turn this off now. Oh yeah, be careful, this is still hot even though it is at 155 degrees. Alright, so there's plenty of sabao, but sometimes the flavor is a little bit off. So what I'm going to do here is move this over to the oven, and I'm actually going to put it into another pot. There we go, look at that. It's weird cooking in a Ziploc bag. So I'm using this pot right here. And this is a deep fry basket that I'm gonna put it in, and I'll tell you exactly why I have it. They're actually made for each other, which is kind of cool. The thing about this is, it's done, it's ready to eat in terms of texture and doneness, but sometimes the sabao might be off, meaning it's probably still good, but once in a while, maybe it's too salty, maybe it needs more pepper. So what I do is I dump it out into the pot first. One, to just have it being served out of the pot versus a Ziploc bag. And I have it in here because I don't want to cook carrots or the pork belly anymore, but look at this. What's funny is this is actually could be cooked a little bit more. But it's soft and it is delicious. That's bomb. And I'm gonna put both bags in. Sometimes I will make a spicy version, so maybe adding extra peppers in there. Oh yeah, baby. Oh my gosh, Judy's gonna love this. This is all basically done. There's quite a bit of sabao in there, but I'm gonna go ahead and let it cook a little bit longer. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna actually try the sabao on its own. Very, very good. There's really nothing it needs. I might add a little black pepper, maybe a tiny bit of water, just to give it a little more sabao, but it's ready to eat. Sadly, this was not gonna be that as useful as I thought it was gonna be because it doesn't need to be separated. So what I'm doing here with this strainer or this fry basket is, if I had to cook the sabao down a little bit longer without overcooking the carrots and the pork belly, that was my plan. So what I'm gonna do here is actually heat this up, just get it to a low simmer. I'm not gonna really cook anything because they're already cooked, but I do want to reduce the sabao just a little bit, and it's gonna be okay leaving everything in there. So that is my plan. I mean, it's done. It should simmer just a little bit, but I want you to taste the sabao because that's or a little bit of pork too, I think.
I think it's really good. I could really taste the vinegar in it.
Yeah, it's more vinegar heavy for sure.
Yeah.
Honey, are you excited for this?
I am.
It's gonna be amazing.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. I'm excited. This is probably one of the dishes I'm most excited to serve just because it does take a long time and it requires a lot of patience. And yeah, it's been quite the hit in our life. with people. Oh yeah, and then of course gotta have some carrots. You know what I forgot, honey? I forgot some potatoes.
Oh,
would've been
that's
good.
a lot of meat.
That's what she said. Try the carrot too.
Wow. Amazing.
All right,
That
there you
is a 10
go.
out of 10. Thank you, honey.
You're welcome.
This will be our dinner.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna eat that too later.
Yeah.
I got the actual recipe on my channel as well. Uploaded that about 6 years ago. But everyone loves this adobo. And I don't say that lightly because I know adobo can be very, very particular to your mom's adobo or what you grew up with. This is definitely a fancied up adobo.
It was, and it was mama approved, for sure.
That's saying a lot because
Yeah.
she cooked the best adobo, honestly.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Mmm.